Most parents of high school baseball players think that they understand the whole college recruiting process, but they're making critical mistakes that cost their son multiple opportunities to land real scholarship money. And I played 7 years of professional baseball, 3 years at the D1 level, even competed in a World Baseball Classic, and I've traded alongside MLB talent. And the families that I help every single day sometimes make these mistakes from day one. And I've helped over 200 high school baseball players out navigate the whole college recruiting process successfully. So you're going to want to stick around to the end, because what I'm about to share with you could be the difference between your son getting recruited and ultimately being overlooked. So let's talk about the mistake number one. So mistake number one is thinking that talent is enough, right? And yes, talent was enough in 2005, but we're not in 2005 anymore. We're in 2026, right? We're 2 decades beyond 2005. I can't even say it. And talent isn't enough anymore, right? You need to understand that. We need to be professional. We need to show, good leadership qualities. We need to have the right mentality. We also need to go about outreaching to these college coaches the right way. There's so many more that goes into it as far as the whole college recruiting process. It can get daunting, especially if you're a parent of a serious high school baseball player. So the talent will ultimately help you get into the room, but really having that strategy is what's going to land that scholarship for your son when it comes to August 1st of his junior year and beyond. So that way, when he's able to communicate with these college coaches, or really for these college coaches, when they're able to communicate with him, that's going to be the area where that door's open, but really he's kicking the door open rather than opening it with his hand, right? So as far as mistake number 2, not really understanding the whole time frame of really the calendar year. So, and this is a pretty common question when I go live on my Coffee and Baseball, so I'm going to kind of draw this out for you guys as well. So this is your typical time frame of a typical calendar year. And this is where ideally for most warm weather states, this is baseball season, right? This is baseball season. This is when we're playing usually until October, sometimes from February to October. Summer ball right here, spring season's right here, fall ball's right here, right? So hopefully you're following along. A lot of high school baseball players don't develop the right way in this block and in this block, right? So these blocks, the red blocks, that should be the off season. That is where you should be regenerating the muscles. You should be building the muscles, right? So if we talk about an energy output, at the beginning of the season, we're going to have a high energy, right? So this is energy and this is time throughout the year. We're going to have a high energy output, but then there's going to be a point in time throughout the summer season where our energy gets lost. And if we never take a time away from the game, we're just going to keep on regressing. So this is typically for those multi-sport athletes. Yes, if you're a multi-sport athlete, I'm not telling you to stop, but you have to think about the bigger picture. Zoom out 30,000 foot. When are we able to really build up our strength, our energy, right? Because there has to be a point in time, again, if we are regressing throughout the season, maybe it comes to October, where this is going to be the time where now, instead of regressing, what we want to do and focus on is this is the build section of our calendar year, right? And then once again, what's going to happen once the season starts up again, that's where we're going to regress. Or better yet, once we are in the season, instead of taking a huge dip and really regressing our energy, what we want to try to do the best of our ability, because of course we will regress, is what we want to have the focus on is maintaining that strength that we built in the off season. So that way, throughout every build and maintain section, there's a little bit more of a build and less of a regress, if that makes sense. I feel like I just rhymed a little bit. So, and by the way, guys, if you need a little bit more assistance in the whole college recruiting process, grab the 7 steps on how to reach out to college coaches right now down below in the description. It should be the second link. It's completely for free. So let's talk about mistake number 3 is leaving it all up to the player. And this is where I'm a little bit torn telling you this right now, because yes, the player should take full responsibility in his journey. There are players that develop later, right? I was a late bloomer physically, not necessarily so much mentally though. And there are going to be players, maybe your son is one that's developing later mentally, and that's where he doesn't realize the emphasis of what he needs to do right now. Every once in a while, we'll speak to players and they don't really see the future. They don't know if they want to play college baseball or not, right? Because mentally they haven't developed that vision to see past, let's be honest, next week, right? Let alone 4 years from now. So that's where it's really important to understand that when we're going bowling, right? This is, let's just call it an alleyway, right? That's where there typically are going to be these, and you guys know if you've gone bowling, there's going to be these bumpers, right? So like the bumpers, that's what you need to be as a parent, right? I'm not saying that you need to bowl the actual ball down the pins, right? Like I'm not telling you to be the actual bowler, the one that actually is doing the motion, but you do need to be the bumpers when we're talking about the whole college recruiting process and some of these things that these like high school players might just not realize as an opportunity. So if we're talking about being those bumpers, what I really want to emphasize, especially for parents that are listening to this video right now, I want to emphasize building that clear recruiting game plan together and having really the conversation with your son. Now, if there are high school baseball players listening to this video, I would much prefer that you are the one initiating that conversation with your parents. That is taking the initiative, that is showing responsibility. Your parents are going to look at you like you're a Greek god, like you're going to be like, oh my goodness, wow, like amazing. He's mature now. He's having these adult conversations. He's thinking about the future. That's great. If you're a parent listening to this and you start that conversation, you do have to understand that there's going to be a level of you taking the initiative. And if you're the one always taking the initiative, is that the concoction? Is that the perfect cocktail of energy and basically initiative for your son to be able to play professional baseball? Probably not. A lot of the big leaguers that I played with and alongside with professional athletes, like they were the ones that took the initiative, not mom and dad, right? Yes, it can get your son to that D1 level, but like when he's in college, he will be by himself. So again, if you're initiating that conversation with him, probably because his mind is not on those things at this moment. To be fair, sometimes I didn't really want to have those conversations with my parents because I wasn't super outgoing. But this is where it's really important to have those conversations with your son, because if you never have these conversations, that's where time will typically pass up. And unfortunately, that's where you'll never be able to get that time back. So if you're looking to help maybe that whole college recruiting process, maybe your son needs to physically develop, maybe he's a little bit undersized. These are all areas that I help out within my remote training program. It is 100% online, where we focus on the triple play with all of my high school baseball players, helping them develop the skills and really the routine for them to become their own best coach. So that way they don't have to rely on a hitting coach or a local coach or a travel ball coach or a high school coach telling them that they're going to help you guys out, when in reality they haven't really done anything on the recruiting side. They haven't built that game plan or really that walkway that's been lit up previously for your son. And ultimately, that's what I want to do to help all my students. At the end of the day, it is a one-on-one mentorship program. This is not like a PDF that I just hand you guys. This isn't a YouTube video that I just hand you guys. It's a one-on-one mentorship program. There's real accountability, making sure that all my students know exactly what to be working on, making sure that their mind's right, making sure that they're doing the right things in the gym, right movements, but then also they're reaching out to these college coaches. They're building that strategy one-on-one alongside with me. So if that's something that sounds at the very least interesting with you guys, go ahead, click the first link down below in the description to learn a little bit more about the triple play. And if it intrigues you enough, go ahead and schedule out an eligibility review so that way we can map out your game plan for your son together.